Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner here with Right Side Broadcasting. We wanted to come on the air tonight and give you an update on the Waffle House shooter who is still at large, still not in custody. A lot of you are probably aware about the story where early this morning, around 3 a.m. or 3:20 a.m. this morning, Tennessee time, a man went into a Waffle House in Antioch, Tennessee, and just started shooting. He actually started shooting outside the Waffle House and then proceeded to go inside and continue shooting. Very sadly, 4 people were killed, 4 others injured. And frankly, it sounds like a lot more would have been killed and injured except for the heroic actions of one of the people inside the Waffle House who actually confronted the gunman and took the gun from him and threw it over the counter. So after which the gunman fled. So the gunman fled, and that was, around 3:30 a.m. this morning, and authorities still have not found the gunman. Authorities believe the gunman might be armed, certainly dangerous, and I'm wondering, sometimes in these mass shootings, the perpetrator ends up killing themselves. So I would think there's some possibility that he's actually killed himself. So I don't know. I'm just saying that's one thing that could have happened. But anyway, so we want to give you the latest update on what we're hearing about this and go over some of the details of the story and also get your comments on this story. So you can write to me during the broadcast on Twitter, at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Anyway, so we want to... You can hear me. That's good. I just checked to make sure you can hear me. Thank you to our moderators. We have JC and Guinevere are here right now moderating on YouTube, and Common Sense and Gleno on the website. And I think Jude is around too. So let's... So there's a bunch of different things to talk about here. First of all, to update you on the search for this shooter, well, let me tell you who the shooter is. The shooter is... let me say the suspected shooter. So there's very strong suspicion that this is the shooting suspect. So let me say that. But the suspect who is suspected of doing the shooting is a 29-year-old man from Illinois named... I'm forgetting the name. I'm blanking. Reinking. Travis Reinking. Travis Reinking. There's a picture of him there. And the first thing we should talk about is the search for him. Now, I've been looking on social media and on the news. I haven't seen any updates in the last couple hours about the search for Travis Reinking. I had seen a post, I want to say like 10 hours ago, where there was a post, maybe I can find it here, where like they had surrounded his apartment complex and they heard an explosion, and I thought maybe they were going to capture him then, but it didn't really lead to anything. Let me see if I can find the post here. Yeah, here it is. So this was posted at 12:29 p.m. This is over 10 hours ago. And, around noontime, I saw this post from Morgan Hightower saying Jerry Barlar reports hearing an explosion where the suspect is believed to live. Several officers are on the scene. So officers did go to the guy's apartment complex, but they didn't find him, and they're still looking for him. And I haven't really heard anything in the last couple of hours about any kind of updates on the search. If you hear anything if you've heard any late-breaking updates on the search, aside from the fact that they're still searching, give me a shout on Twitter, at Lookner, let me know. But I have not heard any updates on the search. And, I'll try to find it. One of the stories I was just reading, which I'm going to show you, said he ran into the woods after the shooting. So let me see if I can find the detail that says that. Hang on one second here. I have a couple stories up here. Let me just show you this. This is from the Daily Mail story. Metro Nashville police say he's wanted for murder. He was added today to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's top 10 most wanted list and is described as 6 foot 4 inches and 180 pounds. 6'4", 180. He is considered armed and dangerous. And I want to show you this. I wanted to find the part where it talked about him running into the woods. Can I find it? If not, I'll just move on. But I know I saw it. Actually, I could just Google Woods. Here it is. So after the shooting, after he ran away, and we're going to talk about the details of the shooting in a second, but witnesses said the suspected shooter ran to a nearby apartment complex where he is a resident and put on black pants before entering the woods barefoot. Why is this thing here? Why is share selection here? A SWAT team swarmed his apartment in the morning with their guns drawn and screamed at nearby residents to get back. It was declared cleared at 3 p.m. with no sight of Reinking. So again, after his gun was taken away from him, the shooter fled the Waffle House, ran to his apartment complex, put on black pants. He was wearing no pants at the time of the shooting, and then entered the woods barefoot. Now, you would think there'd be a decent chance that if they knew the woods he entered, they could go. I'm sure they're searching this woods, but you'd think there's a decent chance they could find him relatively quickly, but they have not found him yet. So I don't really know what that means. Could he be far away? Could he be sleeping in a tree? Could he have killed himself? I have no idea. But he has not been found yet. Armed and he's definitely dangerous, and he very well might be armed. So that's an update on the shooter, the search for the shooter. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know. Also, I will certainly, like later tonight, if I hear anything, I'll either come on the air and or post on my Twitters. You can follow me on Twitter at Lookner. So I'll keep checking for updates on that. I kind of want to just check my social media for a second just to make sure there hasn't been some update on this since we came on the air. You never know. I feel like at some point soon they're going to find the guy. But nothing about it in the last few minutes. All right. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about here, and then I'm going to take some of your comments on this, is some updates. We've learned today more about the shooter and his background and the guns he had. Well, I'll show you the rifle here. First of all, from the Daily Mail article, here are a couple pictures of the shooter. Again, his name is Travis Reinking, the suspected shooter. There are a couple pictures of him right there. Now, we found out some stuff about his background today, and I want to go over that with you. So this is an article from the Tennessean, a Tennessee paper, which talks about the shooter. And we found out that his father actually gave him guns that the authorities came to the house to take away the guns, and then the father said he was going to hold on to guns, but then he gave them back to the kid. All right, so let me show you this. The details of this are there's a lot of details here, and there's like a whole backstory with him, but I want to go over some of these details. So now, one thing we found out today is that he previously had weapons removed from his possession after a 2017 arrest near the White House. Now, if you see here, in July 2017, last year, Secret Service arrested Reinking for being in a restricted area near the White House. Quote, Secret Service said, quote, he wanted to set up a meeting with the president. So he was arrested for being in a restricted area near the White House and saying he wanted to. I had read another story saying he didn't want to leave the area. Now, after his arrest, his Illinois firearms authorization was revoked, okay? And the local Illinois authorities seized 4 weapons. Okay, so they did, after that arrest, they seized 4 weapons from him. Among the weapons, the 4 weapons that this guy had that they seized, authorities seized in Illinois, after he was arrested by the Secret Service. And I read a different story that the FBI requested that Illinois authorities take his guns. So they took his 4 guns. And among the weapons the authorities seized last year was the AR-15 rifle he used this morning at the Waffle House. So that rifle he used at the Waffle House this morning had been seized by Illinois authorities last year after he got arrested by the Secret Service. Now, I'll show you the details here. Again, more details on how he came to have this weapon again. Okay, so on August 24th, the sheriff's deputies in Illinois took a state-issued card from Reinking that Illinois requires for someone to own a weapon. So they took his card that he needed. It's like I guess it's a weapons license of some sort. They took that from him, and he volunteered to give up. All right, so this story even is conflicting. So this is where I get confused. Up here, the story says the authorities seized his 4 weapons last year. That's what it says in the story right here. Then 2 paragraphs below, it seems to say that they never seized the weapons. It seems to say the deputies came to the house. So Reinking's father was present when those deputies came to confiscate the guns. The father had a valid state authorization card and asked the police if he could keep the weapons. Deputies gave Reinking's father the weapons, Hudson said. Hudson is an Illinois County, Tazewell County Sheriff. He was allowed to do that after he assured deputies he would keep them secure and away from Travis, Huston said. So, and then Huston and the Nashville police chief believe his father, Reinking's father, returned the weapons to Reinking. So it's a little confusing in the story because they say 2 different things happened. What it looks like happened from what we just read is that, so Reinking, who's the suspected shooter today, he gets arrested last July at the White House. He's in a restricted area saying he wants to set up a meeting with the president. They arrest him. Then I had read a different story that said the FBI told, I don't know if they can order this or suggested it, but anyway, the FBI either ordered or suggested to Illinois authorities that they, maybe suggested because they can't order, I don't know, but they told the Illinois authorities they should take the weapons from this guy. So Illinois deputies in August show up at the guy's place to take the weapons, but they don't actually take the weapons because the dad, who has a license to hold weapons, says, well, I'll hold on to them and I'll lock them up and I won't let the son have them. I'll keep them secure and away from my son. And then the authorities were cool with that, and so they let the dad do that. And then the authorities now believe the dad ended up giving the guns back to the son. Now, what I'm confused about here is, if the authorities came to seize the weapons from the son, are they allowed to just give them to the dad? I don't know what the regulations on that are. I'm a little confused by that. Can they just, I mean, if they're supposed to seize the weapons, aren't they supposed to seize the weapons? Can they give it to the guardian of the person? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I'm a little confused by that detail. So then now. Yeah, and then it's confusing. Anderson said, the Nashville police chief said he believes, he's not even sure, he believes that under Illinois law, guns seized can be returned to someone who has a valid state authorization. But that's confusing because you can't just, I would assume the law doesn't say any gun seized from a person can be given to any other person with a valid state authorization. So there's more to the law that's in the story, and I'm kind of confused by that. Anyways, but Anderson, the Nashville police chief, also said he was not immediately aware of any Tennessee law Reinking would have violated by possessing guns in Nashville. So he's from Illinois, the suspected shooter. The Illinois authorities are the ones who came to take the guns, but the shooting was in Tennessee. And then there's this part of the story. Sorry, a bunch of details here, but just want to get this out there before I take your comments. The Tennessean says this is not the first time Reinking's father returned weapons to his son after concerns about Reinking's state of mind. So this story says that there were multiple times Reinking's father had his son's weapons and then gave the son the weapons back. This says, now I tried to read through this before and I got a little confused. Let me see if I can make it a little more clear here. It says in May 2006, so 2 years ago in May 2016, the Tazewell Sheriff's Office responded to a call involving Reinking. According to police reports, Reinking told law enforcement he thought singer Taylor Swift was stalking him. Law enforcement took Reinking to a local hospital for evaluation. So last year he was arrested at the White House saying he wanted to set up a meeting with the president. 2 years ago, he was taken to the hospital by law enforcement after telling law enforcement he thought Taylor Swift was stalking him. Now, also in June of last year, this is a month before he was arrested by the Secret Service at the White House, Reinking threatened someone with an AR-15 while wearing a pink dress. After threatening the man, Reinking drove to a public pool and dove in the pool before exposing himself to others at the pool, according to the reports. Then the police contacted Reinking's father, and the father said a while back he took 3 rifles and a handgun away and locked them up when Travis was having problems. The father wanted to move out of state, so he gave them back to Travis, the reports state. And then police told the father he might want to lock the guns back up until Travis gets mental help, which he stated he would. The next month, Reinking was arrested at the White House. So we do have 2 cases in this story where Travis Reinking's father took guns that were his son's and said he was going to lock them up, and did, I guess, lock them up, although that's not confirmed. But let's assume he did lock them up so his son couldn't get a hold of them because his son was having mental difficulties. But in both of these cases, the authorities think the father gave the guns back to the son. Oh, also, I left this out, another little sign of that the Reinking was not mentally well. In early August of last year, Reinking again told local law enforcement he thought he was a victim of hacking and that people were trying to get him to break the law. Later in the month is when police came to take away his gun or guns. There needs to be a little editing in this story, but anyways. And this says, according to this story, Reinking may still have 1 weapon as police continue their manhunt late Sunday. So, and I haven't even gotten to the actual shooting yet. So, anyways, I'm going to get to the shooting details in a second. I want to take your comments. But, so what we've talked about so far is that they're still looking for this guy who's believed to be the shooter. Strong suspicion he is the shooter. They haven't found him yet. The shooting happened around 3:30 a.m. He fled after the shooting to his apartment building and then fled into the woods, and they haven't found him yet. So he's on the loose, obviously dangerous if he's still alive and hasn't killed himself or something. And we've also read how in the last 2 years he had several incidents which suggest he was not mentally well, being arrested at the White House, telling law enforcement that Taylor Swift was stalking him, threatening somebody with an AR-15 rifle while wearing a pink dress, and then going to a public pool and exposing himself. So lots of incidents suggesting this guy was not mentally well. So I want to talk in a second about the actual shooting and the person who heroically took the gun away from the shooter, but I want to get some of your comments first. So if you have any thoughts on all of this, a lot of details with this story, write to me on Twitter, @Lookner, @LOOKNER. I'm going to see if anybody's written in so far. And also, thanks again to our moderators who are moderating the chat room. We appreciate it. JC, Guinevere, Jude, I think, is around. Common Sense and Gleno on the website. And by the way, if you like that we're doing this coverage, I don't know if you're going to see much coverage in the mainstream media of this story tonight because it's Sunday night, and for some reason the national news networks kind of stop working on weekends, and especially weekend evenings, and they have like reruns and documentaries. I don't know why they can't be live, but they can't. But we're live. If you like that we do this coverage, we are a viewer-supported network. We rely on your donations to stay on the air. So if you'd like to support Right Side Broadcasting, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat. It's a little gray $ under where you typed your chat messages in. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. All right, now let me see if anybody's written in about this. JC, I don't know if I can read that comment on the air. I'm going to hold off on that one, JC. But if you want to write a different comment, JC, feel free to write in. Virtual Frog wrote in and said, after the house raid, they said that 2 of his rifles are still missing. So I had read earlier stories that said what you said, Virtual Frog, that maybe 2 of his guns were missing. Now, this story we just looked at in the Tennessean, which is the big Tennessee newspaper, they said, they quoted, who is this Aaron? They quoted as saying, police think he may still have 1 weapon. They quoted Nashville police. So a Nashville police spokesman, Dan Aaron, said the shooter might still have 1 weapon. Now, maybe he's wrong. I don't know. But that's what that story said. Dingle writes in, have seen many on left saying guy without a gun stops guy with a gun, haha NRA. But really, if weapon had a stoppage jam reload issues, isn't it at that point 2 guys without a gun? So that's from our viewer Dingle. We're going to talk about the person who stopped the shooter in a second. Thank you for writing in, Dingle. Linda Belk, our viewer, writes in, she says, sounds like another screw up by authorities who didn't follow up on someone armed and dangerous. Now, I don't know, Linda. Somebody might say, look, the authorities went to the guy's house to take his guns, and the dad told him he would lock up the guns, and that's why they didn't take them. So I could see somebody saying the authorities did their job, and it's the dad's fault for giving the kid the gun back. So but somebody might say, why did they let the dad keep the guns? I don't, who you blame in all of this is up to you. Also, I don't know, was he getting mental treatment? How much of it was he getting? There's all kinds of blame people might cite here. So I'm not too familiar with all the details here, but there's certainly different ways to go on that. And I'm sure there are different opinions on blame in this. Hey, Matthew O'Buck, thank you. Made a donation. Matthew O'Buck said, get some breakfast and enjoy. Thank you, Matthew. Sweet Sinner, our viewer, writes in and says, if the police gave the weapons to the dad and he gave the suspect the weapons back, access to the weapons, then the dad should also be held responsible for the shooting. The suspect should probably have been locked up in a mental hospital because he sounds like a nut job. Now, interesting point about the dad being held responsible. I certainly think, now I'm no legal expert, I certainly think victims might file a civil suit against the dad, saying he was negligent perhaps and that he should have to pay damages. I'm not sure, how Tennessee negligence law and all that works. But anyways, I could see that happening. Now, another question, though, is might the dad bear any legal responsibility here if he gave the guns back to the kid? Now, look, I'm not an expert at all on the law or Tennessee law. I will say this. Look, we don't know what the dad's interaction with the son was like. Might the dad say, look, whenever I was around the son, he was acting great. He was perfectly lucid. He seemed totally recovered to me, so I gave him his guns back. If that's the case, is he breaking a law? So regardless of whether you think the father should have given the son the guns, there's this question of, does that break a law? And I'm not aware, unless, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be surprised if under the law, it would only be illegal if like the dad thought that the son was like an imminent threat to safety or something like that. And that way, but, again, so it's entirely possible that the dad didn't break the law, but he could be held responsible in civil suits if people sued him and could, have to pay damages or something to the families, or injured people, families of the victims, or victims if they're still alive. But unfortunately, I'm not a Tennessee lawyer and cannot give you a better answer on that. JGG. Okay, you sent me that link, which was the shooting, but that was the most recent update you saw was the story we were just reading from the Tennessean. Now, JGG sent me this. It's a tweet from Educating Liberals that says the Waffle House shooter was already prohibited from owning guns as his were previously confiscated by law enforcement. Now, they weren't actually confiscated. They came to confiscate them, but then the father said, I'll hold on to them. But he still managed to get his hands on them again. I think the point that the person tweeting is making is that this shooter was not legally allowed to have these guns. The authorities come and take his license away. Well, let me say this. The Illinois authorities took the shooter's Illinois license away, but I don't know if there was any law I don't know if it was illegal for him to have guns in Tennessee. That's what the Tennessean article was saying. It was saying, let me find it here. So Nashville Police Chief Steve Anderson said he was not immediately aware of any Tennessee law Reinking would have violated by possessing guns in Nashville. So I don't know what Nashville and Tennessee gun laws are like. But I guess it's possible that he was not allowed to have guns in Illinois, but was allowed to have them in Nashville. I don't know. Okay, this is a tweet from a message I was sent by Patrick Hostis, our viewer. Patrick Hostis says, everyone says these nuts should be sent to mental hospitals, but I worked at one. They have no funding. States and the feds must pony up the money or stop whining about shootings and blaming legal gun owners. So Patrick wants there to be more funding for mental facilities to help treat people with mental issues, as like this it's a suspected shooter today who apparently had some serious mental issues, if the stories about him are true. I want to also show you a picture of the gun if I can find it. I can definitely find it. Well, I don't want to say definitely. There it is. This is the gun that was used today. That was the gun. So let's take a second and talk about the actual shooting. We haven't talked about, we have not talked about the shooting itself and what happened and the person who stopped the shooting. So here's a shot of the Waffle House outside. The shooter first shot in through the windows of the Waffle House. So let me show you here. And there's another shot of the Waffle House there. And very sadly, 4 people were killed. Very sad. So there's a description in here. This is the Daily Mail article about the shooting. And let me read it to you. So the shooter, Reinking, arrived at the Waffle House parking lot around 3:19 a.m. And he sat in his pickup truck for 3 to 4 minutes while staring at people inside the restaurant, according to the Nashville police. Then, completely naked except for a green jacket, he started opening fire with his AR-15 at 3:25 a.m. The green jacket was later found with 2 magazines containing AR-15 ammunition. Now, he first fatally shot 2 people standing outside the restaurant. So there were 2 people standing outside the restaurant who he shot first. He killed them both. Now, the person who stopped this shooting is, it's Shaw Jr. I got to get his first name here. Hang on a second. Where is it here? James Shaw Jr. That's James Shaw Jr. He was actually shot. The guy who stopped the gunman, he was shot. That's a gunshot wound on his arm. But it's interesting. He, as it says down here, he and his best friend initially went to a different Waffle House, but it was too packed, so they decided to go to this one. And James Shaw Jr. saw Reinking sitting in a truck as he headed into the restaurant, and then he says when Shaw Jr. said when the shots first rang out, he first thought a stack of plates had fallen to the ground. Then he said, the second one happened, then the third one happened, and I saw the Waffle House employees scatter, and I saw a person lying on the ground at the entrance of the door, he said. When the gunman entered the restaurant, Shaw Jr. tried to hide behind a swivel door. I guess a swivel door is one of those, like, it's like a door that, it's like, in the Old West movies where you push the 2 doors open and they swivel out and swivel back in. I think it's something like that. When the gunman entered the restaurant, he tried to hide behind a swivel door. Then he said, James Shaw Jr. says, the gunman shot through that door and it grazed my arm. That's when I made up my mind. If it was going to come down to it, he was going to have to work to kill me, he said. Shaw Jr. then saw a window of opportunity when the gunman was trying to reload. So the gunman was trying to reload, and Shaw Jr., that's when he went at the gunman. He says, I ran through the swivel door, hit him with the swivel door. That shows you how close he was to the shooter, that he hit him with the swivel door. And then the gun was kind of jammed up and pushed down, so we were scuffling. And remember, this gunman's a big guy. The gunman's 6'4". I managed to get him with one hand on the gun, and I grabbed it from him and threw it over the counter. Shaw Jr. said he didn't even feel the heat of the barrel when he grabbed the gun. So Shaw Jr. had severe burns on his hand from grabbing this gun. He was treated for severe burns on his hand for grabbing the barrel of the gun. But he said he didn't notice the heat when he grabbed the gun from the shooter and he threw it over the counter. He said he didn't even feel the heat of the barrel when he grabbed the gun. After he got rid of the weapon, he pushed the gunman out of the restaurant. The gunman fled, and Shaw Jr. said he didn't follow because he was scared the gunman might have another gun. Soon after, he flagged down passing drivers to call 911. So really heroic that this guy confronted the gunman, took the gun away from the gunman, and threw it over the counter. And also, I'd read that there were about 30 people in the restaurant. So he, very well could have saved a lot of lives by doing that, given that there were about 30 people in that restaurant. Shaw Jr. said he was sorry he couldn't save more lives. It wasn't really a process of thinking. It was more just a now. You have to do this now or it's not. If I let him load that weapon, there wasn't going to be another window, he told News Channel 5. And I have here, he showed up at the press conference, even though he'd been treated for burns and his gunshot wound. He showed up at, where did that tweet go? At a press conference, and he spoke today about the shooting incident. Hang on. I will get it for you here. Here it is. So ABC News posted this. And it's him talking about stopping the shooter. This is James Shaw Jr., who stopped the shooter. Let's show you this.
I actually went behind, it's like a push door, swivel door, and he shot through that door, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure he grazed my arm. And it was at that time that I kind of made up my mind, because there's no way to lock that door, that if it was going to come down to it, he was going to have to work to worked to kill me. So at the time that he was either reloading or the gun jammed or whatever happened is when I ran through the swivel door. I hit him with the swivel door, and then the gun was kind of jammed up and it was pushed down, so we were scuffling. And I managed to get him with one hand on the gun, and then I grabbed it from him and I threw it over the countertop. And then after that, I was trying to get out the door, and I think he was pretty much in the entranceway, so I just took him out with me, out of the entrance and all the way outside.
Just amazing. I think he's a hero. I mean, it's just like he was feet away from this 6'4" shooter killing people, and he just confronted him physically. He scuffled with him. He took his gun and threw it over the counter, and just amazing. So amazing job by James Shaw Jr. And as I said before, there were about 30 people in that restaurant, so it looks like he saved a bunch of lives. But very sadly, our condolences certainly, and our thoughts and prayers go to the families of those 4 people killed in the shooting, and also we wish for a speedy recovery for the 4 people injured. I think one of them might be critical. Let me just see if I can get you an update on the injuries. Also, there was a picture of somebody, very sadly, of one of the people who was killed in the shooting. Yes, so this is a picture here from the Daily Mail. It says Alika da Silva, 23, pictured in those 2 pictures, has been identified as one of the 4 people killed on Sunday. Very sad. I read that a Waffle House employee was either hurt or killed too. Well, here's all right. So here we go. Here are the people who were killed. It says Torian Sanderlin, not 29, Joe Perez, 20, and Aquila De Silva, 23, have been identified as victims of the tragic shooting. Sanderlin was a cook at the Waffle House. A 21-year-old woman was also killed. Her name has not been yet released. Very sad. And then there were 4 injuries I had read about too. Here we go. From the Washington Post article, it says 2 others, Shanita Wagoner, 21, of Nashville, and Sharita Henderson, 24, of Antioch, remain in critical condition. So there are 2 people in critical condition now. And there were 2 other people who were treated with minor injuries from the shooting. So 4 dead, 2 in critical condition, and 2 with minor injuries. And the Waffle House president said to Travis Shaw Jr., who stopped the shooter, he said, "You're a hero, you're my hero, we're forever in your debt." Hey, I wonder if I can get a clip of that. Let's see if I can find it. I can find posts about it. Well, I can't find that exact quote, but I can give you another clip of him. Fox News posted this of the Waffle House CEO talking about the shooting.
Good afternoon. I'm here to express our condolences to the victims and their families. It is a very sad day indeed for our Waffle House family of associates and customers who are impacted by this tragedy today. All of our attention right now is focused on the victims and their families and our associates who were working that night and others who are affected and knew the people who were working that night. And we're here to support them in any way we possibly can. I personally want to thank Mr. Shaw. You don't get to meet too many heroes in life, Mr. Shaw, but you are a hero. You're my hero. You saved people's lives, and I talked to some of those people you saved today, and they will think of you for the rest of their days, as will I, and we are forever in your debt and grateful for the courage that you displayed taking care of your fellow man, and so I thank you. I also want to thank Mayor Briley, Chief Anderson, and the brave men and women of the Metro Police Department who are working tirelessly out there at that scene today and searching for this man. And we will do anything we can to help and support your efforts in that regard. Thank you.
Chief Anderson will now take your questions.
You can even you can see in that shot, Travis Shaw Jr. He has a bandage on his hand because he'd been treated. There you go. He'd been treated earlier today for a burn on that hand. That's the hand that grabbed the gun from the shooter, and the barrel was really hot, and he had severe burns on that hand. But he still showed up at the press conference. Just see if there's anything else, any updates on the actual shooter from the last few minutes. By the way, just real quick, I had posted earlier about a possible bus accident I was hearing a report of in North Korea. And just to interrupt real quick, AFP is reporting road accident in North Korea causes heavy casualties among Chinese tourists. So I will keep an eye on that later, but just to let you know, that just was posted by AFP. Before there was a story saying it was a bus that had driven off a bridge and killed over 30 people, but I can't confirm that. But I'm not seeing any updates on the shooter. Oh, this is new. The Tennessean just posted, the 29-year-old hero from Waffle House shooting has created a GoFundMe page to help victims.
How's it going, everybody?
No, let me just... everything's autoplay video. Hang on. So many pop-ups. Pop-ups and autoplay. All right, hang on. Here is the GoFundMe page. Supposedly. By the way, so the Tennessean says this is the GoFundMe page. I personally, in Right Side Broadcasting, take no responsibility for this. So I'm always wary of GoFundMe pages. I like to have them confirmed. The Tennessean newspaper says this is James Shaw Jr.'s GoFundMe page. And he says, I'm creating this page to help the families of the victims from the shooting that took place in Waffle House, Antioch, Tennessee. In Antioch, Tennessee. So just to let you know, if you want to find out about this, you can search it on GoFundMe or the Tennessean article about it. But as I said before, I just want to be clear, I have not researched this, so I cannot confirm 100% that this is a legitimate page by James Shaw Jr. So I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I want to be careful here because I'm always very careful with GoFundMe pages and stuff. And I literally just heard about this right now. So it would be irresponsible of me to not say that. But feel free to research it on your own. That GoFundMe page is not for him, by the way. If that is his page, it's not for him. It's for victims. Why Fabu in the chat room says, I don't trust GoFundMe pages either. You just have to be careful, and there's a lot of GoFundMe pages are great and charitable, but there have been cases where people try to take advantage of tragedies and set up a fake GoFundMe page. So just making, if you do, I would encourage people to research when they donate something like that. But it's up to you. Just don't blame me for anything. Or Right Side. All right, I'm going to take a few more comments here. If you have any comments on this story, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Also, we are on social media, different channels. Somebody had written me a message before saying they couldn't watch us on YouTube for some reason. I'm not sure why. But aside from YouTube, we're also on Facebook. We're on Periscope and Twitter. YouTube and Facebook, we're at Right Side Broadcasting. Periscope, we're at RSBN TV, and Twitter, we're at RSB Network. Also, Tuesday night, we have Tuesday night, you can join us for live coverage of the special election, Arizona's 8th Congressional District. Tippernini and Lesko. I'll show you. We've already created the event. You can go look at it on, there it is right there, here. We're going to have live coverage. I will be here Tuesday night with live coverage of the election results, so be sure to join us for that on Tuesday night. JC says, Steve, a swivel door is a door that swivels. But I was trying to think, JC, more when he said, when James Shaw Jr. said he was hiding behind a swivel door, I was trying to think of like, what exactly does that look like? And I'm thinking, a lot of restaurants have the ones that they don't go all the way to the ground. They're like a few feet high, and they start about 2 feet off the ground, and they go to about 5 feet off the ground or something. So I don't know what it's like there in that Waffle House. Davis Deaton says, I apologize for the off-topic comment, but didn't the map in the background behind you used to scroll pan? So this map is moved. There's movement here, but this is a different map than the other one. And the thing is, there was a technical issue with that other map. I like the other map, but there's this technical issue, this very odd technical issue where it works on some computers but not on others. But basically, I cannot use it without it having this technical issue. So we've gone to this map. We like both maps, but we're using this one right now. Chris Yates says he likes the shirt I'm wearing. Thank you, Chris. Billy Harris says, we talked about this earlier. Billy Harris, our viewer, says, Waffle House gunman says Taylor Swift was stalking him. Yeah, he told the police that last year. Patrick Hostis, our viewer, says, the man who stopped this shooting is a true hero. He displayed amazing courage. I'm going to check the Facebook chat real quick, see what's going on there. There's the Facebook chat room. Jason Turner in the Facebook chat says, R.I.P. very sad. Marie Delgado Travis says, so tragic. Deborah Coleman Seipert says, so very sad. Teresa Blommer says he must be long gone by now. Teresa, I don't know if that means you think he's like his dead by now, the shooter. Maybe he's killed himself, or you think by long gone you mean he's far away. I would have to imagine they'll find him soon. But again, we forget. I think so many times with these shooting stories, I mean, the vast majority of these of shootings, like we hear like this, like, well publicized shootings, the shooter either kills himself or is taken into custody. Let me say this again. This shooter is still on the loose, maybe with a weapon or two. Think about that. This guy who did this, who supposedly did this, that's what the authorities say he did it. He is on the loose. He's not in custody, so that's quite scary, actually. So I will post on my Twitter if I hear any updates on this, at Lookner. You can follow me there, at Lookner on Twitter. If there's big updates, we'll come on the air and do a news story about it. But anyway. Frankie Briggs Norman says, what's the latest update? Quick recap, please. Well, Frankie, you can go to the beginning of the video and watch, but basically the shooter isn't in custody yet. That's the quick update. But you can, if you missed the start of the stream, you can always watch the beginning of the stream. You can rewatch it if you want. Oh, Trish in Arizona made a good point in a Periscope chat. Trish in Arizona said, do they know what he's driving? Yes, they do know what he's driving. I forgot to talk about that. Let me show you that. Let me find it and then show it to you. Here we go. Here's a tweet from Fox Nashville. Metro Nashville police searching truck believed to be used by shooter at Tennessee Waffle House. I had read that this truck was registered to the suspected shooter, and there is a shot of it right there. There it is. So, well, that's not what he's driving because it's there, but they know what he drove. As to, but you got to work, might he have stolen a car? If he's still alive, what's he doing? Yeah, they don't know where he is. He was wearing, a pair of black sweatpants when he ran into the woods. That's the latest. He ran into the woods this morning after the shooting with wearing a pair of black sweatpants. That's the last anybody's seen of him. Our viewer Joe Decomp writes in, I wonder if the shooter was on antidepressants, as in most mass shootings, the shooter is found to be on them. I can't confirm that, by the way. That's our viewer saying that. Joe also says, anyone that is in such a mental state who needs and is prescribed those meds should not be allowed to have firearms. Now, he was not allowed to have them in Illinois because he'd gotten his license taken away. There's that weird thing where, so if he gets his license to have firearms taken away in Illinois, legally speaking, I guess he can just move to another state and get firearms again. I don't know how that works. Because if he goes and if he's in Tennessee and he tries to buy firearms, will the Illinois thing come up in a background check? And is it different if he just brings firearms with him to Tennessee? Are those now not illegal in Tennessee? I'm so confused. I'm sure Tennessee has firearm laws. I just don't know them. That's the problem. Just a little update on that North Korea story, by the way. As Martin Williams says, Chinese media has been reporting a bus crash in North Korea killed tourists, but the stories that appeared are now being deleted. I can confirm that because I retweeted them some earlier, and a couple of them were deleted. Several folks confirmed the accident did happen, and supposedly over 30 people died in this tour bus accident with Chinese tourists in North Korea. I'll just show you. You can see my earlier tweets about this. The original tweet was the tweet I retweeted was deleted. So look. See, I had 2 tweets about this, and they deleted the original tweet. Oh, now this one got deleted too. Fox News had posted this story that, reportedly the Avicii, the guy who died, the electronic music artist who died, Avicii's autopsies did reveal foul play, but the source was very badly the story was very badly sourced, and now Fox News deleted the tweet. Well, I'm going to delete this now. Anyways. But now we're getting off track. Just wanted to update you on that North Korea story, though. Several viewers have written me jokes referring to my not having been to Waffle House, which I don't think would really be appropriate to have on the air at this time, so I'm not reading those. Our viewer Tom Hayes says, if he's not dead already, when the authorities close in, my guess will be he won't be taken alive. I would guess they try to take him alive. But you think he won't let himself be taken alive. Or maybe you think, I don't know what you think, but you think he won't be taken alive. That's what Tom Hayes says. All right, so I think in a minute, we're going to wrap up this stream. I just want to say again, if you like that we've been covering this, as opposed to the mainstream media, who I'm sure the news channels are running their Sunday night reruns as they usually do, or documentaries or whatever, or rerun documentaries. Please consider donating to Right Side Broadcasting, because that's how we stay on the air. You're the guys who support us and keep us on the air with your donations. So if you want to donate, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. We like being able to bring you the news, and we want to keep being able to do it. So hope you consider donating. All right, I think at this point we're going to wrap up this stream. And if there's other big news on this story, I will post it on my Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter for breaking news updates at Lookner. If it's something really big happens, we might come on the air again tonight. So keep an eye out if you're awake. Thank you so much to our moderators. JC and Guinevere have been moderating in the YouTube chat room. Thank you. And Common Sense and Gleno on our website. Tom B in the YouTube chat says they're not releasing all the information. Very possibly, Tom B. Maybe they know something about where the shooter is, but they don't want to reveal that they know where he is or something, or they know the neighborhood he's in or something. Thank you for saying thank you in the chat room. Light Switch and Swoosh and DM. And Lori Sunshine, Daniel Alexander, Swoosh, Elysia, I want a quick detail. He also, Novice Nymph says, why this Waffle House was he fired? I don't know why this Waffle House, but I assume it's near where he lived, but at the same time, he had been reportedly fired from a job a few weeks ago. I did see that. I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Ryan Lovesey, Davis Deaton, Thomas Schroeder, John K., Eric, Linda Belk, Hillbilly Nitro. A lot of people saying thank you tonight. In the Periscope chat, nobody's saying thank you. Thank you for saying thanks, Tom Hayes. In the Facebook chat. Donna Sullivan says good night in the Facebook chat. Good night, Donna. Thank you, Mitchell McNeely. And John Boy. And everybody else out there. All right, we're going to wrap this up right now. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to the victims' families, the families of the victims and the friends of the victims, and also those injured in this really terrible incident where people just hanging out at a Waffle House got shot and killed and injured. Great job, again, to the hero, Travis Shaw. Sorry, not Travis Shaw. He's a baseball player. I'm forgetting the name. I keep wanting to say Travis Shaw. I can't remember. I'm going to have to look it up. Shaw Jr. is his last name, but now I'm going to have to look it up. It was James Shaw Jr. He is the hero who stopped the shooting, confronted the shooter, took the gun away from the shooter, and tossed the gun over the counter. Amazing job to James Shaw Jr. And we hope the two victims who are still hospitalized in critical condition, we hope they pull through. So our best wishes to them. Oh, we got a donation here from Canada. Russian Trollbot 2.0 made a donation. Russian Trollbot's comment was, you can bet the Dems will use this to push for more gun control. Thank you for the donation, Russian Trollbot. Okay, we are wrapping this up. Thank you for other people saying thanks. People like Marjorie Schultz, Joseph Centeno, and everybody else there. And Kane Pops in the Periscope chat. Thank you. And everybody else. And we will be on the air soon with more news. And Tuesday night, again, we'll have the live coverage of the special election in Arizona. Also, we will be live Saturday night in Washington Township, Michigan for the President Trump's rally there. I will be going. Margaret Howell reportedly will be going with me. And maybe even somebody you haven't seen yet. We'll see. Maybe a special mystery guest who you don't know might be there as well. And Aaron, the cameraman. So we will be covering our usual full coverage at the President Trump rally in Washington Township, Michigan on Saturday night. That's when that is. So there you go. But for now, we hope you have a great rest of your evening and a great rest of your weekend, what little remains of it, and a good start to your week. And we will see you soon with more news coverage. But for now, I am Steve Lookner. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sending in your comments as well and your news tips. We always love when you participate in our broadcast, so thank you for letting me read your comments on the air. And that's it for now. We'll see you soon with more news at Right Side Broadcasting. Have a good night.